It's August, it's a Saturday, our only day off when we're together, because tomorrow Tasha is working. And we've decided to go and walk near the Beauport River. We live in Quebec City, if you don't know yet, but most of the tourist locations are full of tourists at this time of the year. It's impossible to get to the big waterfall, like Montmorency Falls, for example. It's impossible to get there because you can't even park there, and it's better to go to Montmorency Falls when it's September maybe, and all the tourists will be gone. So, but there are many places which are less known to tourists, if they are known to tourists at all. And we living in this city for already 2 years. We're taking advantage of us knowing more places than the main tourist places, because when you go to Quebec City, you go where? You go to Chateau Frontenac, to the old center, to the city fort. And maybe you would go to Chute Montmorency or Waterfall Montmorency, the biggest one. There are 8 more waterfalls that we know of. We're sure there are more than 8, and one of them we will see today, but it's not only waterfall, it's just a nice walk in the park. So let's go see it. There are multiple entrances to this place because it's a river which traverses the half of the city. It goes in one of the districts, of Beauport district. And we will drop the address of this entrance in the description of this video. You can see it's called Parc de Rivière-Beauport, and but it can be entered also closer to the Beauport. There is to the waterfall. There is a parking lot and a kids playground. We're gonna go there ourselves, traversing this park with the family. We have 2 kids which are already ran away somewhere there, so we will be seeing them a bit later. It's 1.5 kilometers to go that way. The water level here in Beauport River has dropped significantly from the last time we've seen it. We've discovered this place when the snow was still melting, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. And I wonder if there is a trout in this river. I'm pretty confident that it lives here. It's just that it's one of my long projects. I'm like already 3 years in a row, I'm dreaming that one day I'm gonna start fishing. There are lots of rivers and trout is abundant here, but it's always, you know, there is something more important than buying a fishing pole. I'm sure that maybe next year I will be able to buy a fishing pole and all the necessary bobbers and all the other stuff like lures, and start finally fishing. Maybe not in the rivers. I'll try. First of all, I'll try in the lakes because there's going to be more chances of catching something. I'm not even sure if I'll be as lucky to get a trout. How do you think if I'll be able to get it to catch it? Considering that I've never been fishing, but at least I'm hoping to catch a perch or some other fish which lives here. I actually don't really care which one. I'm sure they're all delicious. So far, I haven't seen anyone who looks like a tourist over here. It's mostly local people, and because tourists, you can know the person is tourist. He's taking pictures everywhere, right? So at the moment, it's just us taking pictures here. But the interesting fact about Quebec City is that it's being traversed by this cycling track, which can take you from one portion of the city to another one, and even to the other side of the river, St. Lawrence River. You can even go to Lévis. And recently in Nova Scotia they have forbidden to go to the wilderness to hiking, which is a very strange and I would say outright stupid decision. But what should we do when the huge chunk of the city is just wilderness? Especially on the other side there is a city Lévis, which is about 80% is just forest. So what can you do? Just ban going into the parts of the city? So what tourists don't know about this city is just that Quebec City is mostly, it's not only the fort and the old buildings, it's also lots of private houses and uncharted wilderness, would say like this. Well, it's not quite uncharted wilderness, but just parks, ancient forests, which was converted to these parks where people were just hiking and taking the ride on bicycle. By the way, by this track, you can go all the way to the district where we live in, Val-Belair. And there is, I don't know, around 25 kilometers from here. All these rocks were covered with water when we came here last time in April. Right now, as you see, the level has dropped significantly because all of these rivers here in Quebec City, they are quite fast flowing. And if there is no rain for a few days, and it hasn't been raining for like 5 days now, the level of water drops very quickly. And where I'm standing, I wouldn't have been able to stand in April or even in June, I would suppose, because the water level was just there. You see, this was the bank and the water was over there. Just looking at this water, it seems like there is no life in it at all. But I'm sure my buddy from Missouri, Kevin, hi Kevin, he would tell me what to do with these creeks, because just in little shallow creeks like this, he's catching the fish. Most of the time, he's fishing in the pond, but there are lakes upstream here which could have been used for fishing. I'm not sure, if they're on this river, but on Saint Charles River, which we live on, there is a lake and there is fish. I should start fishing actually. Let me know in your comments if you have any clue why that bank seems to be red. You see that stuff? Like it's either grass or rocks. They have become red all the way to the tree and going forward as well. Is it something in the water or is it just the type of a rock which is becoming red? I'm not even sure if it's a rock. It looks like it's some kind of grass. There is an interesting fact that with all this abundance of rivers and creeks like this one in Quebec City, there are dozens of them, can't find the exact number. The Quebec City in 19th century experienced a huge lack of fresh water. And even having the huge St. Lawrence River just below the city walls, it was burned multiple times to the ground. Like in October 1866, there was a huge fire in Quebec City because there was no aqueduct to supply the city with water. Eventually, it was resolved by the city calling the American engineer George Baldwin, who was in charge of building the dam in Waterfall, a little bit up the river, but not this one, the St. Charles River. They built the dam to increase the level of the river a little bit and build kind of like a supply of the water, which will be used for the city of Quebec. It's used up until this day. Of course, all the installations have been upgraded, but after that, Quebec finally received a sufficient amount of water. But because before that, it was like an entry point for multiple immigrants. With all this abundance of snow half of the year and water in the streams, since the city was experiencing a huge lack of the clean water in the city itself, all these immigrants which were coming throughout the 19th century as an entry point to Quebec City, they were also bringing diseases, and there were huge outbreaks of different diseases, various diseases. That's why part of those immigrants were kept on the island later on, but not exactly 19th century, but closer to the 20th century. They were kept on the Grosse Île. It's an island on the St. Lawrence River for 40 days. That's why this word quarantine, which comes from French quarantaine, 40 means 40 days they were kept on that island to see if they will survive or not, if they have brought some diseases or not. Part of the problem was the lack of the clean water and the overall difficult sanitary situation in the city because of that. Maple leaves over the mountain stream, that's how you know you're in Canada. Official walkway goes that way upstairs, but if you want to get closer to the waterfall itself and touch the water, you have to go here. As you see, there are lots of people violating these rules, and that's why they approach closer to the water. It's not quite a violation, it's just not the mainstream walkway. So we'll go this way. So here you go, guys. This is a waterfall. This is the Rivière-Beauport, which is falling down the rock, and that's where we were heading. And actually, in April, I wouldn't have been able to sit here because it was all covered with water. Right now, as you see, not all the waterfall is covered with water because there haven't been raining for like a week already, or maybe 5 days or so. With this speed of the water is all gone to the St. Lawrence River. But this is the place where you can visit without any tourists. As you see, there are no tourists here, only people who live around. And if you would come to the Montmorency Falls, you wouldn't be able to get close to it. It's a nice place, it's a huge waterfall. The only problem that if everyone comes in the same summer days, because people have vacations and people have vacations in the schools and in their universities, it's packed with people. So here you go, Beauport Falls. I'll show you more stuff like this. Subscribe and hit that like button. It's going to help us move our content in the YouTube. It always astonishes me how these cedar trees are kind of like grabbed into these rocks, and there is no soft ground, and somehow they manage to push their roots into the rock itself, and then grow a big tree up on top of them. And it's everywhere along the rivers. I think their seeds are being spread by the water current, and you can see them on Montmorency River, you can see them on Beauport, and also on the St. Charles River. Wherever these rivers are in canyons, it's always these cedar trees which are just holding on to the rock and pushing like this in the weird forms because they are trying to survive in their search of the sun.